Hey everybody, Chris Agos here, and I'm talking about three big differences between working as an actor in Chicago versus working as an actor in Los Angeles. So let's get right to it. Thing number one, scale. If you look at the film and TV business in Chicago, it's worth about $400 to $500 million a year. That's the number that producers spend to make TV shows and movies that are shot not only in the city of Chicago, but also throughout the entire state of Illinois. You contrast that with Los Angeles, and you got to think about it like this. Los Angeles produces a good portion of the entire world's entertainment. So of course the industry there isn't going to be worth $400 to $500 million. It's going to be billions and billions of dollars. So what does that mean for actors? That just means that the infrastructure that's in place to support the industry in LA is so much larger than that in Chicago. Actors are infrastructure. We are a tool that producers use in order to create and make their content. So let's say there's 8,000 or 10,000 people in Chicago that claim to be actors, that are working towards an acting career or already have one and they're full-timers, or let's say they're students and they're learning the art of being an actor. Compare that to Los Angeles, where you have literally, I wouldn't be surprised, hundreds of thousands of people who are working as actors in the industry. You've got people who are internationally known celebs, all the way down to the students who haven't worked yet but are working on developing a career. So the numbers are just staggeringly different. Another thing that's amazingly different is the number of casting directors. So because there's so many more projects to be done in Los Angeles, there are so many more casting directors to cast those jobs. In Chicago, you've got 4 or 5 casting directors that you need to have relationships with. And in LA, you're looking at 600, 700 CDs to keep track of. That's crazy. So your job as an actor in LA is really to drill down and focus on CDs that are doing the kind of work you want to do and try to get in and form relationships with those offices. So the good news is thing number 2 is there to help you manage thing number 1. And I want to talk about managers, which is the second big difference between working in Chicago and LA. You know, in Chicago, we really don't have managers because the market is small enough that actors can manage their own career. They can handle their own education, they can form relationships themselves, they can submit to agents and grab representation without needing too much help from an outside source. But in Los Angeles, because the industry is just so vast, managers can be a key part of an actor's development. What's the difference between an agent and a manager? Well, a manager takes a big picture look and approach to an actor's career, and an agent takes more of a day-to-day approach to a career. I think that's probably a fair way of summing it up. So an agent is there to negotiate a deal once an actor has an offer for work, whereas a manager is really more about generating more of those offers for work. So, fun fact, I didn't know this, but the state of California actually requires that the only people who negotiate deals for actors are agents and attorneys. So your manager technically is not supposed to negotiate your deal unless, of course, he or she is an attorney. But because the industry is just so vast, a lot of times you need more than one partner in your career. You need to assemble a team, and a manager can really be an important part of that. So that's difference number 2. Difference number 3 is actually the kind of work that's available to actors in both markets. So both markets do TV, film, commercials, all that stuff. But what's interesting is that some of the things that we do in Chicago really aren't a thing in Los Angeles at all. I'm thinking of ear prompter, trade show work, corporate industrial work. You know, Los Angeles focus on much of the public-facing entertainment. So what does that mean? People who are sitting in their living room flipping through channels or streaming movies on their couch. Chicago is much more focused on corporate work. So that's stuff that the public may not see, but is for corporate audiences or very specialized audiences that companies need to reach. So as a result, there really isn't a lot of corporate industrial work in Los Angeles. And because the ear prompter is mostly used for that kind of stuff, nobody's really working on the ear prompter in LA. So that's kind of interesting. But what's more interesting, I think, is the depth to which you can go within the discipline that you're interested in focusing on. So, for example, that's a fancy way of saying if you're a voice talent, there's way more ways to make a living and make money in the discipline of being a voice talent in Los Angeles than there is in Chicago. If you're a voiceover in Chicago, you're probably going to mostly do TV and radio spots. You're going to do some corporate narration. You might grab a video game here or there, and if you're really working hard at it, you might be an audiobook narrator. In Los Angeles, though, yeah, you can do all those things, but there are a couple of categories of work that you just can't do in Chicago. I'm thinking of voice matching. Let's say celebrities, a celebrity does a role in a movie and a toy company wants to make a toy with the celebrity's voice as the character. The celeb doesn't have the availability or the desire to go into the studio and record all of the phrases for the toy, so they hire voice talent to match that celeb's voice. There are a ton of people in LA that make great money doing that kind of work. The video gaming industry is very concentrated here, and they hire a lot of voice talent to voice their the characters in their games. There's ADR and looping, which is a way for voice talent to support the production of TV shows and feature films. That kind of work is not available in Chicago. So I will say that you can definitely do voiceover in LA, but you can dive way deeper into it than you can in Chicago. So hope all that made sense. Those are three big things that are different between working in LA versus working in Chicago. Now, if you're interested in moving to LA to become an actor, maybe you're working in Chicago as an actor right now and you think maybe a move to the West Coast is right for you. We are actually doing a class at Acting Studio on, I think it's June 13th. Double check the website because I might be wrong on that. But I'm going to be there, and we're going to talk for a few hours about what it takes to go from being a Chicago actor to being a Los Angeles-based actor. So hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. See you soon.